Welcome back to the small caps. The global IPO market has become increasingly hostile amid worries about the Eurozone crisis and the economic slowdown. But there are still dozens of companies seeking to take the plunge and investors with money to buy them. Continental Coal is the latest Australian miner to list offshore, floating on the London Stock Exchange in an effort to increase its international exposure. The company is already listed in Australia and the US. For more on the listing, Elizabeth Tilley spoke to Continental Coal Chief Executive Don Turvey from one of his mines in South Africa.
The Australian market has been very good to us. As we've grown as an exploration company, the risk money was there to support the company through that early phases. And now that we're in production, we believe that to extend our investor base, it's best to go to a market that supports that type of companies. And as we know, London has been supportive of Africa for the best part of 100 years.
Don, the IPO market's pretty hostile at the moment, thanks to the current global economic concerns and market volatility. Why did you decide now was a good time to list?
Well, we don't need money, so at the moment we're fully funded. Our third mine is fully funded, so we don't have to raise capital at this time. So it's really getting that exposure. So as things improve, then we'll be there. So at this point, it's a compliance listing, and not for fundraising.
Is the international exposure you get from listing in a place like London something you just can't get through a listing here in Australia?
Yes, we in our recent roadshow in London and in Zurich, the potential investors have expressed that interest and also said the fact that we can now be in their time zone, it will make it a lot easier for them to engage with us. So we already have investors in the UK and also in the US, but we believe that this will expand that investor base.
And what percentage of your shareholders are located offshore?
Well, we have one sizable investor out of the US with over 10% of our stock. Most of the stock is still in Australia. We do have some exposure in Hong Kong and Singapore and also in the UK. So the majority is still in Australia.
What is the attraction of mining in South Africa? You seem to have joined a wave of Australian miners now operating or investing in the country.
I believe, with the new dispensation in South Africa from a legal point of view, it really opened up the mining industry, especially the coal industry, for the junior market, and that obviously opened up the opportunity to get involved. And we've been successful in acquiring assets and have the ability to transform them into operating mines.
And how do you deal with the political interference associated with investing in mining in Africa?
There's always that background noise in a sense, but we have been operating, myself has been in mining here in South Africa for over 25 years, so it's an environment that we understand Africa, and I believe we're well positioned to capture that and navigate our way through that process, and we've been quite successful in doing exactly that.
Do you have any plans to expand into mining here in Australia?
Well, we're open for opportunities. We're starting off here in South Africa, and we're planning to expand into East Africa at least. But we are open for opportunities elsewhere.
What are your thoughts on issues surrounding mining here in Australia? Is the mineral resource rent tax a concern of yours?
Obviously, it is a concern. Getting assets in Australia is obviously a lot more expensive than other parts in the world. But our focus has been on Southern Africa and Eastern Africa, and that's where, in the foreseeable future, that's where we're going to see the focus of Continental.
You currently have 2 South African thermal coal mines in production and have just started operations at a third mine. When do you expect production to start at this mine?
Well, we started construction about a week and we'll start underground mining in the second quarter of 2012.
Do you expect production at your other coal mines to meet expectations this year?
Absolutely. We've ramped up to full production in the last few quarters. Quarter on quarter we had increases and it went very well. We're now at the steady state mining level, and we expect that to continue for this year.
Are you eyeing any acquisition opportunities at the moment?
Yeah, there's always something that we're evaluating, and we have been doing that for the past couple of months. There's nothing firm yet.
Do you consider yourself a takeover target?
Eventually, yes. As one expands into a bigger resource base, I believe, when we go into the Botswana, where we have a huge exploration target, as we start building that up, increase our resource base, I believe we will be a potential takeover target.
And finally, Don, what are your plans for the next 12 months?
Well, the key targets for the next 12 months is obviously getting our third mine into production, maintain our output from our 2 mines, and also finalizing our feasibility study in our 4th mine, making investment decision there, and we hope to be in construction at the latter part of next year on our 4th mine. So it's an exciting time, and obviously while we're exposing our investors to a very growing company.